welcome back to Evil's Comics. This guy right here is Evil Mike, or Mike if you prefer, and I got a review for you today. And by request, we're going to be talking about DC Comics Wesley Dodds, The Sandman, issue number 1. It is written by Robert Venditti, art by Riley Rossimo, colors by Ivan Plascencia, letters by Tom Napolitano. I know I messed up that middle name. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe on this guy's channel. Hit the bell. You never know when I'm going to be dropping videos, especially since I don't really have a schedule, especially if you like the reviews. Alright, so Wesley Dodds, The Sandman. First up, the whole, the cover is done by Riley Rossimo. The whole book is done by Riley Rossimo, and that's actually one of the highlights of the book. I loved it. But I am a huge fan of Riley Rossimo, so I can see how the way he does people might get, I don't know, weird people out kind of thing. But there was a big topic of question, when does this book fall in? And it tells us right off the bat, Boston, Massachusetts, 1940. So we are dealing with a younger, version of the Sandman. But basically, the book starts out right there. We're in a church. There's some criminals that, this gang, and it's specifically this guy, Robert Rossi, who has kidnapped and killed some people, him and his gang, and he's kind of the mob leader or whatever. As soon as the book opens, you can see there's some mobsters on the ground and there's smoke. At first I thought they were just knocked out, but okay, this is the Sandman. He puts people to sleep or he knocks them out, And sure enough, with the title, spread or whatever, we get the Sandman, and we get the title page. It's called Fog of War. And basically he sprays this guy, Robert Rossi, with his Sandman concoction, and it's basically like a truth serum, because he kind of tells, this guy that he's going to confess for this murder. Abel Dreyfus is the reason why Sandman's tracked him down, and that's kind of exactly what happens. The guy starts freaking out, and he basically, he didn't tell Sandman, and that's not what Sandman wants. He actually wants Sandman to kill him, and Sandman's like, nah, man, you're gonna confess to the proper authorities, and you're gonna serve your time, kind of thing. And he does. He's like, yeah, I'll do that. So we move forward, and basically at this point we get this page here, and it's Wesley Dodds, and he's been having nightmares, and it's like kind of set in 3 different fashions. His current things, him dealing with like mobsters and like kind of supervillains kind of thing, because he's talking about Robert Rossi, and then we got Tarantula. Then he's getting these flashes of stuff that doesn't make any sense to him at the moment. He calls it like people wearing flashy costumes, like they're in the theater, or they're dancing, doing a masquerade kind of thing. We see here, this is the Justice Society. Eventually he does join them, but evidently this is before. He also shows us images of like a futuristic JSA, which we've seen currently in Jeff Johns' JSA that's going on right now, which he's not a part of, because currently he's dead at that time, I think. I don't know, I'm gonna have to go look back, but I don't think he's in that JSA. So he doesn't recognize any of these people. But he's basically getting like flips of events kind of thing. And he's not sure what's going on kind of thing, and he's having doubts about being the Sandman kind of thing. He talks about his father and stuff, and how, his father was a great scientist, but most of his father's stuff was used for mass destruction kind of thing, going through like World War I, and most of the gases were used for nefarious things instead of non-lethal, which is Sandman's whole thing. So we jump over, and we kind of get to see where Wesley Dodds lives. He's a millionaire. He has a butler, and we get to meet him. His name is Humphreys, shown here. He basically has a back cave. He calls it the place under the hidden stairway. I don't know if that's exactly what he calls it, but that's how he references in the book. But basically he's going over like old recipes of different gases that he invented, and how many times he failed, and how many times they ended up being lethal gases, which was not his desired outcome. He wanted a non-lethal gas that he could use. I'm not sure, maybe in his vigilante life, or maybe he was trying to use it for science. So that's basically what he's talking to Humphreys, and he is told that his special friend Dinah is upstairs. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So he rushes upstairs to greet her, and we find out that they are romantically interested in each other. Girlfriend, boyfriend status. I don't think they're married kind of thing. So basically she's coming up here to give him, good luck kind of thing, because we find out he has an interview with a colonel, and he has a big project that he's hoping to get taken off the ground. We jump over here to the interview. Basically he's meeting up with his boss, which happens to be Wheeler Riley, but basically just Wheeler, and he's meeting with a Colonel Breckenridge, and they go into the meeting, and he lays it out all for the colonel, and the colonel is like, look, war is war, we're into killing and maiming, and the Sandman, he tries to paint this picture of like a non-lethal version, and the colonel is like, look, your gas has, merits. He was like, but think about this, what if we went over to war and we were fighting the Germans, and we knocked out like 50 Germans and they're all asleep in your non-lethal thing? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to have tanks waiting by so we can, load them all up, so he paints this other picture that it's just not a practical mean for war kind of thing, and that's what Wesley Dodds was hoping for. Basically he gets kicked out of the office. Wheeler, his boss, is actually kind of made fun of by the colonel, because he's like, you're wasting my time, why'd you even bring this kind of thing. So after that, Wheeler, he invites Wesley Dodds after the failure to come to this big massive party that he's got going. Don't see it as a failure kind of thing, see it as an opportunity. His dad would have done the same thing. Wesley Dodds is not doing that good, because he was hoping this would be the chance that he was going to step out of his father's shadow kind of thing. We get this moment where he steps away from everybody. He does meet this one guy who's like kind of a science head, but it's very brief, and Wesley Dodds, he does mention that he's interested in meeting this guy. But eventually he makes it outside, needing some fresh air, and Dinah, his date, finds him, and basically he's explaining all his frustrations to her, and trying to not bring her down, but she's being a good girlfriend at the same time. Like, screw these guys, we don't need this, because his biggest complaint is like, hey, I can't be around all the success right now after I just went through my massive failure kind of thing. So in a cool girlfriend kind of fashion, she's like, screw them, let's leave. You're the most important guest. If they don't see that, back to them. Okay, so as they're leaving, we get the scenes, and we've been getting these scenes that someone has been breaking into a house. We get that image first, and then we get this other image where basically it's somebody going through Wesley Dodds' house, and now that Wesley Dodds is not here, not only do they find his Sandman gear, but they find his book that has all his, like, I'm assuming all his different, potion, alchemy stuff that he's got for these, sleeping, because he mentioned at least like 6 or 7 different lethal versions of the gas that he had came up with before he came up with this Sandman, vigilante serum kind of thing, the smoke he uses to but we do see this kind of mass thing. I'll point out that this happens right after he went to the military, to spin this non-lethal thing for the military, and they turned him down, and all of a sudden someone's breaking into his house, I'm just saying. So we do get the scene over here with Jeffries, not Jeffries, Humphreys, and he's been there the whole time, so he kind of, they're telling us that his house has been unguarded kind of thing, because his butler's here, been waiting at the party for him. He's been at the party, nobody's been at the house. So basically this criminal was able to get in scot-free kind of thing. Wesley Dodds does go to Humphreys to the car, and basically to grab his Sandman gear. He's going to do what makes him feel the best, and he's going to go out there and protect the city as the Sandman. And sure enough, someone needs him. There's this guy that's about to get robbed during a dank alley. These thugs claim the dark alley as theirs, part of the darkness kind of thing. Sandman just whoops in. He doesn't even need his gas. He just comes in, beats the crap out of both these guys. There is this scene where, like, one of the bad guys tries to, grab the dude and hold him for a hostage. Yeah, Wesley Dodds knocks the crap out of him, and he, at the end of it, he's like, I claim the street for the just and the innocent, and he was like, and anybody comes back here claiming to be a part of the darkness, send him to the Sandman kind of thing. We get this moment where there's a commotion, a fire, truck rages by. Wesley Dodds sees this as something he needs to check out, rushes, hops on the fire truck, and as he does so, he takes off his Sandman gear. There's a fire truck on the back of this fire truck that happens to stare Wesley Dodds down. He's like, what the hell, what are you? And he kind of, you know, gives him this nod and just allows him to ride. They ride out to the, you know, the place where the commotion is coming from, and sure enough, it happens to be, lo and behold, Wesley Dodds' house. You know, after the criminal broke in, stole his shit, he lit his house on fire and took off. And I will point out there's this weird scene a little bit back here where we have Wesley Dodds, and like right before he was leaving, and he passes this one dude right as we see the dude in the mask, but he also passes this guy who's acting all funny. I want to say it's the same dude who just, you know, took off his mask and just happened to walk by Wesley Dodds without Wesley knowing him. But that is where this issue leaves us off at, man. It is a fantastic read. I loved it. It had the whole 1940s aesthetic to it. Riley Rossimo killed it on the art. I loved it. But this was fantastic. We do have 2 other books that are tied to this kind of old school DC. We got Jay Garrick that dropped this week. It drops today, actually. And then we have Alan Scott, the Green Lantern. So we got 2 more books that are dropping into this, you know, the JSA era of stuff. But that is my review, guys. Please let me know down below what you thought of this book. Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you are a fan of the old school Wesley Dodds and you read this, what'd you think? You know, did you like it? Are they doing it justice? Alright, guys, that's all I got for you. That's my review. Yeah.